right, welcome back. Yes, indeed, we're turning our attention to the tax bills before the National Assembly. As you've seen there, we've got Honorable Philip Agbese here with her. He is the Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Information. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
So talk to us about this. We've got 4 bills before the House. We know that in the Senate yesterday, it was rancorous, boisterous, if you will. Rare. You don't see the Senate in this kind of mood all the time. So perhaps a lot of you might have seen that report where Senators Ningi and Senator Dume were kicking against it, but the Deputy Senate President too was presiding on the day, overruled them, and then the FIRS boss and Mr. Taiwo Ijele and his team came into the chamber and addressed the Senate on the matter. Well, let me say, briefed the Senate to shed a lot more light on that tax bill. So that's part of what we're going to talk about today. But look at this slide now. You will see these bills before the Assembly. So Honorable will talk us through some of them now. We have the Nigeria Tax Bill 2024, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill. We'll have the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and we also have the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. All of them before the National Assembly, and they will be discussing these matters. And Honorable, well, first of all, these bills, you're going to debate them today, and chances are that they might be passed today. Is it?
Well, thank you very much once again. The general principle of the bill, of the bills before the Parliament, is that we want to have a revenue system that works for the citizens of this great nation. We want a revenue system that is able to address, deficiencies like the issue of equity and fairness. And we also want a revenue system that is able to address the issue of multiple taxation, where citizens over the years have been made, to pay taxes over and over and over and over again and again. So the mood of the Parliament, to a large extent, has changed from the rancorous one that we had during the first reading of the bill to a better atmosphere.
It was rancorous yesterday in the Senate.
Yes, because the Senate is just doing what the House of Representatives has done 2 weeks back. What did we do? In the wisdom of His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, we invited, the key drivers of the bills in the executive, and when they came before us, we also, brought in our in-house tax experts, who, we equally used to ambush them, to be able to get certain answers out of their presentations. And I think at the end of the presentations by the promoters of the bill, the external promoters of the bills who came into the Parliament, and those within the Parliament, we arrived at a certain level of consensus. And that spirit of consensus has equally been going around, and it is also going to be displayed today, when we meet again today.
What was this consensus, if you could tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, the consensus that we have reached is that the bills are good for the progress and economic sustenance of this nation, that the bills are well thought out, patriotic. Taiwo Ogundele, the promoter of that bill, Oyedele, the promoter of that bill, and the FRS chairman, during the presentation, we saw, a high level of patriotism behind what they have done. And they were also able to address the fears of many Nigerians, particularly people from,
Northern governors?
The northern governors, I think what they did at that time, they didn't study the bill, they just rushed, to make those statements that they made. And even those who took the document before the National Economic Council didn't do what the House of Representatives has done. Because what we have done is to have a full understanding of these documents before the Parliament. And that's exactly what stands out the 10th House of Representatives from others. We are doing things differently under the inspiration and guidance of our leader, the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, to ensure that beyond regional interests, beyond religious interests. Parliament is about consensus building for nation building, growth, and development. So it goes beyond your political inclination. Today, you are going to see that some of the supporters of the bill, are going to be people from other political parties or even people from the north. Because the things that we didn't know about this bill before now, these guys came before the parliament and they were able to explain it, word by word. What did we do as a parliament? We ensured that every member, got a copy of each of the bill, even before that debate. For instance, today we are going to have the second reading of that bill, of those bills today. And we have already engaged experts. We've already had discussions around it. And after today's debate, we're still going into the next stage, which is, public hearing, to equally invite expert Nigerians and members of the Nigerian Governors Forum, members of the traditional institution, people who may still have, one or two doubts about the bills.
I mean, it's good
it's
that
a
you
work
said
in
that
progress.
you have a better understanding.
Yes.
Since you've studied it. All right. So let's look at what the contentious issue is here, because what the permutations are is that a lot of the lawmakers who are kicking against it are being told to kick against it by their governors. But let's talk about that part. Changing the sharing formula of value-added tax, reducing the federal government share from 15% to 10%, and the allocation among states will factor in the derivation principle. That is where the issue is. That is the bone of contention. Now, talk to us a bit, just so we can understand it.
Yes.
The derivation principle that many people are kicking against, what does that entail?
Who does not want more money? If the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Assuage, it's saying that the federal government share of this revenue derivation should be reduced, are we not supposed to commend such a president for that level of patriotism? A president ordinarily who should be telling Nigerians that I need more money to be able to carry out more projects is now saying, what do we do to ensure that more money gets to other tiers of government to ensure that we further develop the country? And the issue of derivation,
because that's the caveat on this VAT bill, this VAT part of the bill. This is the caveat on it, and that's what people are kicking against.
Now, they have forgotten that in this bill that we have today, apart from the one that is going to strengthen the Federal Inland Revenue Service and further to strengthen the state inland revenue services for prudency, for accountability, for transparency, we're equally talking about double, triple, multiple transactions on VAT issues. For instance, the man who is producing water has been taxed. You buy the water from him, you are also taxed. The water is taken to an event center for a program, the water is further taxed. And we have this VAT on commodities that ordinarily should not be taxed in the first instance.
I understand that, but you've left the bill, so you've left the one that we're talking about. The multiple taxation bit is one that has been explained. The derivation bit is where we wanted you to please help us understand.
Yes, it is very, very important, because from questions and analysis on the bills that we have done, we have equally seen that, for instance, the issue of the headquarters syndrome in the old tax system, where Lagos, Port Harcourt, FCT, and maybe one other state are getting over 70% of the VAT. The new bills that we have today on the issue of derivation, people are just a little bit concerned, and some of the people who have expressed opinions on these things are saying that because some states in some parts of the country are experiencing insecurity, they are not able to bring. But for some of us who have also digested this document and are totally in conformity with it and are proud to support it in the interest of our generation and the future of this country, is the fact that this is going to address some abnormalities that have taken place. And the bill seek, to provide the big brother, the brotherhood of the nation state that we profess, because these states that have been taking bogus allocations are now going to shed some of what they've been taking, and it will also be given to other states that have not been having this money. So it is in the interest. So if we are all Nigerians, I want to quote the Federal Inland Revenue Service chairman. He said each day he wakes up in the morning to share the taxes of this country and sees that 4 states get over 70% of the tax money. His heart bleeds. He's unable to sleep because that does not promote the sense of patriotism. And for us in the House of Representatives, our prayer. Every day when we commence our legislative activity, we pray and ask God to guide us, to lead us, to do the things that are right, that are in the interest of this country, the things that will be fair to one another. And it is in doing this that the People's Parliament, the House of Representatives, as it is today, many of us, like you see later during the day, during the second reading, are in total support of the bills before the Parliament. Even some persons have been threatened, by their own state governors. Okay, for instance, I'll use my state as an example. The governor has used clandestine means, to reach members of the Benue caucus. And we said, no, we are members of the same political party.
What was he asking?
That the bill should not be supported.
Did he reach you?
Yes, through his people. And when they reached us as a caucus just last night, we took a decision between the interest of an individual and the interest of our children's children. Tomorrow, what are we going to say to them if we continue in this direction? And you see, if you look at performing governors, some of the performing stars of this country who are governors today, they are not complaining about the bill. Have you heard a word from Governor Bago, who is busy industrializing and promoting agriculture in his state? Because the more you produce, the more money you are going to generate. So it is now time for our governors to go back and begin to use their heads. They should know that one day the crude oil money and the taxes we get from MTN and all these multinationals, one day they will not be there. Before these things came on board, we were generating money. What has happened to cocoa? What has happened to yarn from Zakibiam? What has happened to the gold mining in Zafra and all these states? We have no reason, we have no basis to complain. Let us all come together, support these bills, engage experts, sit down. Look at them critically like the House of Representatives has done. And we see how we can bet a new nation where taxation is an important business globally everywhere in the world.
We've seen bills that have been before the floor, been on the floor, and governors reached out to their members, and such bills didn't pass in time past. So what about if other governors have reached out to their members? Can you guarantee that they all will be patriotic and say, no, we will pass this?
I can confirm to you, this parliament, under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, we are different. We are patriots.
You're still politicians.
Yes, we are politicians. We are patriots. We are intellectually sound. We believe in the future of our country. And that is why the 10th House of Representatives will be doing things differently. I can tell you, yes, you don't expect the same level of patriotism to be demonstrated by every member of the parliament. But a good example is the fact that today, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas is running one of the most complicated parliaments in the history of this country. For the first time, we're having 8 political parties in one parliament. And it is in that same parliament that you have, peaceful, you can see this level of cooperation between parliamentarians in terms of supporting issues that promote the building, the growth and development of the country.
Are you saying this about your governor because maybe you guys don't see eye to eye politically?
He's my governor. I love him so much. I worked for him. I voted for him. What many of us, you see, this is a grace period for all of us. Our interest is to do things right. The things that will be in the interest of our country. The things that will be in the interest of the future of our children. And for me as a patriot, even if you are my friend, you are my brother, or you are my father, having taken this oath of office to serve the interests of my country, for the next 2 to 3 years that I'm going to be in this parliament, I will divorce my relationship with such a person. So it is not about me. It is not about any individual parliamentarian in the 10th House of Representatives. It is not about anybody's relationship with anybody. It is not even about people's relationship with their political parties. It is about tomorrow. It is about our future. It is about what Nigerians will say about the period of time that God, in His mercy, gave us the privilege to be in the parliament. It is about our story. It is about our history. So it is not about any primordial sentiment. It is not about any political leaning. Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, as a leader of the House of Representatives, has been able to, indoctrinate us into his own philosophy of building a nation where patriotism, where there is love, where there is unity. And that's exactly what we are doing.
All right, so we're looking forward to that because the debate is going to continue today in the House. And so you said there's going to be a public hearing eventually.
Yes. You see, these are the things we do, the things that stand us out as a parliament. Of course, you have the laid down parliamentary procedures for lawmaking, which is the first reading, the second reading, the public hearing, and later you return back for the third reading. Now, what we do as a parliament for in the third House of Representatives is to expand public debates, especially to give room, and that's why we christen the parliament as the people's house, to allow a wide range of stakeholders, to come in and make their contributions. And we don't just stop there. Okay, like the issue of appropriation. When we receive bills on appropriation, we don't just go in, scrutinize, and pass. We invite members of the public to come in and make their input because they have a right, to contribute to the lawmaking process. It is their country. And we have pledged that the 10th House of Representatives, under the leadership of His Excellency Right Reverend Tajuddin Abbas, will do everything humanly possible to be seen to be doing only the things, that are in the interest of the masses of our country. So if you don't invite the masses to come in, if you don't allow them, remember that Mr. President, in his rejection of the NEC advisory, said, please, let us allow the parliamentary process to run its full course. At the course of public hearing, we're expecting, of course, the governors, the ones that are bold enough to say we are challenging these bills and these are our reasons to come forward during public hearing. We will give them room. We will even usher some of them into the plenary, if the House so wish, to have them make their contribution so that Nigerians too will see and know what they are talking about. But to issue a blanket statement and say this bill is wrong, you're not advancing any reason for why you are kicking against the bill, no, I think that is not right. It will not serve the interest of a better nation.
All right, so we'll anchor at that point and let you get back to the business of the House because it's going to continue much later today. We do thank you for your time this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Honorable Philip Agbese, Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Information.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think we can use his words this time. I say, let us usher Ayo into our own plenary.
Hi, Ayo. Welcome back.
I can see. Yeah, I can see that the eyes already have it. Don't they? Well,
welcome
you guys
back.
have.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank
Good
you
to
guys.
see you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys. I don't know. I didn't. How do you guys cope with these issues in the country? I mean.
Well, we have the interest of the nation at heart.
He's been away for a little bit of you don't know. It's so stressful. Welcome.
We have the interest of this country at heart.
So, I can see that.
Who said too? We will not let any governor tell us to say the nays have it.
It's good to be back, guys. Thank you so much for the welcome.
So, let me just quickly read this message. He says it's from Pastor Law Alpha. He says the EFCC chairman spoke about the judiciary recently and was called out. I'm aligned, but the facts remain that the judiciary has become the platform where corrupt and desperate politicians lay hands on to massage their ego for selfish political gain. So I'm sure we spared you of this headache while you were on leave with all of this back and forth. But, it's like you never left because the issues are still the issues right here.
Well, most certainly, Chamberlain, the issues are not just going to go away simply because we desire for them to go away. If we don't address them, as you often say, Chamberlain, there are issues that will come back to bite us in the butt if we don't address them the way we ought to address them. And it's not wishful thinking. What gladdens my heart is that there's hardly any Nigerian who doesn't know what's going on in other parts of the world. Oh yes, it may look like the grass is greener on the other side, but you also know that the stories we hear from other climes is that it's not that things are just so rosy everywhere else. They're having their issues. But look, I'm not concerned about what's happening in the other room. I'm concerned about about what's happening in my room, in my own space, in my own environment, in my own enclave. And that is why these issues continue to be a bother. Glad to know that some developments have started happening, whichever way we want to look at it. At least the NNPCL is now glad to celebrate that the Port Harcourt refinery is functional right now. How we scale this up, I guess time will tell. But you see, that tax bit, still a little confusing, isn't it?
Just try and listen to the second reading. Then there will be public hearing, and then it will go back, as he said too. So just follow through all of those, and then you get some more. But you need to keep it locked here at Channels. We'll break it down for you as much as we can.
And then just to buttress that point, you know, the plenary will be live on several platforms, so you can watch that. And just a correction for what we saw on so many media platforms yesterday, they said it was a public hearing. It wasn't a public hearing. The public hearing will be coming subsequently. But just so you can hear what the debates are, what the issues are, it'll be interesting for us to listen to exactly what will be debated today at the Senate floor.
So there you go.
And the House of Reps floor. Yes.
Okay, so there you have it. That wraps up the show today. It's not Friday yet, because we will see you tomorrow, all the same. So it's one more day to go for the week. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain, so goodbye.
Have a great day ahead. I'm Kayla Magwa.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful day.